Wow. The 1993 movie City Hunter is something else, and not in a good way. City Hunter stars Jackie Chan as a successful, womanizing private detective who is hired to track down the daughter of a wealthy client who has run away aboard a cruise ship. The cruise ship is eventually taken over by terrorists, and then the antics ensue. This film is purposefully ridiculous, and I can usually appreciate that if the film has something quality to offer in addition to the ridiculousness. Jackie Chan's movie Mr. Nice Guy was a pretty ridiculous movie, but the action was just so awesome that I didn't care how ridiculous it was. Unfortunately, City Hunter isn't funny enough and the action isn't creative enough to offset the silliness. This movie is very exaggerated. Most of the actors look like they are about to have an aneurysm trying to show emotions like surprise, anger, happiness, etc. For example, if Jackie's character skips a meal, he screams to the heavens that he's starving to death and he crawls on the floor in weakness while whining, and then he grabs a rat sneaking by and tries to take a bite out of it. I was so confused when I first saw this movie as to why it was just so over the top, and then the day after I saw it, I found out it was based off a Japanese manga and anime of the same name, which explains the over-emoting. They tried to be faithful to the spirit of Japanese anime, but it just didn't work for me. Most of the humor in City Hunter falls flat. There's a scene where Jackie and one of the villains get electrocuted by smashing into a Street Fighter arcade game, and they suddenly assume the identities of various Street Fighter characters. This should have been a very funny scene, and I'm usually the first one to get excited about retro video game references in movies, but it was just too silly. They don't do any cool fight choreography, they just put it in hyper fast motion and have the actors on a forward rewind loop, and it was a missed opportunity. The violence in City Hunter can be just really weird too. I would say that most people in today's society aren't used to seeing women in film getting beaten up for comedic effect, unless it's like a woman fighting another woman, like Miss Piggy getting into a fight with a woman flirting with Kermit. But they have a lot of men just wailing on women in City Hunter. Like an attractive female actress will try to seduce one of the villains so she can escape, and then the villain figures out what she's doing and he punches her 5 times in the stomach, accompanied by a goofy whoosh, whoosh punching sound effect, and then kicks her all the way down the hall and she slams against the banister, and then she does the cartoony googly eyes like whoa, and I'm thinking, wow, you don't see that every day. I'm not saying women can't join the action, I'm just saying it was unusual. It has some funny moments. For example, anytime Jackie is trying to act cool like James Bond, his City Hunter theme starts playing and a wind machine blows his hair. There's also a funny scene where he fights some guys in a movie theater that's playing a Bruce Lee movie in the background, and Jackie is trying to imitate Bruce's moves, and then at the end Jackie says, "Thanks, Bruce," and then Bruce Lee winks back at him. I will say City Hunter probably has some watchability value for people who are curious to experience a pure oddity. During the first 15 minutes of the movie, I was thinking this is going to be awesome, just because of how much it committed to its ridiculousness, but that wore off pretty quickly. As they say, I liked the concept, but not the execution. It's just not funny enough and the action isn't cool enough to recommend it. It's free on YouTube with ads, so if you're really curious, then go ahead and check it out. If you disagree with me, let me know why in the comments below.